Hi everyone, and welcome to this video on the lunar eclipse that happens on the 5th of July 2020. It's a pleasure to be with you today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to explain the planets here that you can see on this chart, how they're placed across the wheel, what that throws up in terms of energy, and how you can use it to create something amazing. Okay? The eclipse happens at 5:44 in the morning, and that's based on London time. If you're in a different time zone, then take that into account. Now, this lunar eclipse, just in terms of the mechanics, first and foremost, it's a full moon in Capricorn. So the sun and the moon are 180 degrees away from each other, so a half circle. And the sun, with its light, illuminates the moon completely. It shines Capricorn light on us, because that's the sign it's in. And because it's an eclipse, that energy of letting go of all that Capricorn juice, so to speak, that's interrupted by the eclipse. So the moon darkens and it isn't able to express everything. And that's why an eclipse has an effect that lasts for 6 months. A regular full moon bathes us in its energy. We receive it. We feel things quite strongly during a full moon. A lot of people struggle to sleep or to find peace of mind during a full moon. But then it's over. The moon wanes and it's gone. With this, you're going to get the energy of this full moon for the next couple of months, which is really why we need to understand what this energy is so you can use it to your advantage. Now let's start with the sun. The sun is at 13 degrees in Cancer. The sun is the biggest luminary in our sky. It's the engine of this whole solar system. It's at 13 degrees in Cancer. Cancer is a water sign. It's about the family. It's about nurturing. It's often connected to the IC in the chart, which is your roots, your base, what you care about, what you want to nurture and love, what's important to you, what do you feel, and how do you feel about other people. And it's very much about being there for others, whether it's through food or love or the home. It's a sense of the familiar. 1 and 3 is 4. 4 is structure in numerology. It's security. It's building a solid foundation. It's trusting the ground you're standing on as secure, and you're in a place of choice. You're not rushed off your feet. You're at peace. You're solid. You have a nice kind of platform on which you're standing, and from that space you can take caring, nurturing, positive action. Also, the sun in Cancer will mean if you're nice to yourself, to other people, if you nurture other people, you'll feel a sense of strength within. Now that light hits the moon. The moon is at 13 degrees in Capricorn. That's also about structure. 1 and 3, 4. Capricorn is the goat that tries to get to the top of the mountain. It strives towards achieving what it was put here to do. And the 4 is also, if you work towards something that you like, if you set goals, if you try really hard to get there, you will create security for yourself. You'll be able to feel like the Emperor in the Tarot. The Emperor in the Tarot is the 4th card of the major arcana. 4, just the way this 13, 1 and 3 is 4. And the Emperor really represents the father figure, the authority figure. It's Saturn in astrology. Saturn is the head teacher. It's about the rules. It's about working within the confines of where you're at. It's not interested in your feelings at all. It wants results. So this moon is a really sobering, wonderful moon that says, hey, you looking at me right now, feel my energy. I'm giving you everything that you need to feel secure at work, to feel good about yourself because you have worked, to take care of yourself by devoting yourself to something practical that you love and adore. Feel safe and good about your life because you're working towards something that's going to give you a more comfortable and more realized future. So it's a really gentle, positive energy that isn't just, oh, lie back and don't do anything. It's a positive, loving energy that says you will feel better if you apply yourself, because it will alter your position in the world and it will elevate the way you feel about yourself. So how do I uplift myself on the 5th of July? How do I maximize my potential? How do I become the person I want to be? It's so lovely. Now, in the comments, someone said to me, Greg, a couple of planets are in retrograde right now. We've got Saturn in retrograde, Pluto, Jupiter, Pallas Athena, Neptune, Mercury, all in retrograde. You're being far too optimistic. This should be a terrible time. Everything's in retrograde. I don't agree. First of all, the outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, they all go retrograde for a long time, half a year usually. And they're retrograde most summers in the Northern Hemisphere. If you were to stop everything and say, oh, the planets are retrograde, I can't do anything, you'd be sitting at home for 6 months, okay? We've had the lockdown, we know what that's like, no fun. The reason I would say I am an optimist, but the reason I'm an optimist is because I'm a recovering alcoholic. My true nature is to see things as well. If I were to stay in that space, I would manifest more things to be miserable about and more things to drink on. I have been given a daily reprieve from addiction, and because of that, I realize that I have a reprieve from my own way of thinking. I have a reprieve from my own negative patterns. And if I take this full moon eclipse energy, for example, and say, universe, I'm listening. What is it you would like me to do? What is it you'd like me to work on? Then you embrace the energy and you think about what you can do in future so that the inner optimism is manifested in the world and that your inner worldview is reflected to you because of the work you do. So it's not going to manifest instantly, but if you say, okay, today I'm going to accept the stability and say, wow, the universe wants me to open a restaurant because that is what I love. I love taking care of people and I love cooking. If you accept that energy, you'll have the inner faith to say, okay, I'm going to do this regardless of what my life looks like. I'm going to have faith that if I do this, the future will look even better. And I think that's justified optimism because we do live on a planet where we manifest our reality. The other thing people mentioned was that I said Saturn in Aquarius isn't particularly happy. And people were like, hello, Greg, Saturn used to rule Aquarius before Uranus was discovered. How can you think that Saturn doesn't like Aquarius? I'm sorry, but I have to stick with that. Saturn rules Capricorn. Saturn is the head teacher. It's cold. It's focused on the rules. And it says, what can you do for me? And where is the evidence, please? Show me. In Capricorn, that works really well. Saturn says, okay, I've got this mountain goat. It's super ambitious. It wants to overextend itself just to get to where it wants to go. Fine, let's do that. Work, work, work. Saturn in Aquarius is not happy. Aquarius is the water bearer. It's about letting go of things that don't work and opening yourself up to the chaotic, the mysterious, talking to other people, being a humanitarian, being someone who shares of themselves. Saturn doesn't like that. Saturn could care less about your feelings. Saturn does not care about chaos and innovating new ideas to change society. No, Saturn wants to make money and be safe in the house. So I stick by that. The other thing about retrogrades is that the planet appears to go backwards, okay? And astrologically, you get the opportunity to review the energy of that planet. So Saturn is building structure. In retrograde, it's what have I done in the past that has completely ruined my security and structure? What have I done in the past that didn't work? What did I learn and how can I use that in future to build something I care about in a way that's consistent, pleasant and nurturing? I'm not going to go through all of them, but Pluto in retrograde. What did I do in the past where I tried to transform something and it went to smithereens? How can I avoid that? Jupiter in retrograde. How can I work to create good luck for myself in future rather than waiting for it to come to me externally via the outside world? How can I generate good luck from within? So I am optimistic because I think these retrogrades give us an opportunity to reflect. The eclipse is something that gives us the ability to work for the next couple of months, and Saturn in Aquarius isn't happy. Thank goodness that Saturn is in Capricorn on this day at 29 degrees, and it enables you to look at work that you have done where it's lacking in helping other people and yourself, and how you can remedy that and include something that's fulfilling in your future work. The other thing is that we have a rising sign here of 22 degrees in Cancer. Oh, before I mention that, the personal planets, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, they also go retrograde, and those ones you have to pay attention to. Those are important. Mercury is retrograde on this day. Mercury, the communication planet, when it seems to go backwards, communication can become really difficult and faulty. Venus, the love planet, is direct. Hallelujah, hooray. And Mars, ambition, I want what I want, that's also direct. Great. Those you pay attention to, those are really something that you have to pay attention to, because yeah, a Mercury in Cancer means that yes, you can have personal insight and take care of yourself, but if you try and influence other people or try and use that to gain power and control, it's not going to go the way you want. So focus on inner work, how you can take care of yourself, build security and structure for yourself, have personal insights, but not how do I use this information to elevate myself in the real world or to put people in a situation where they don't know the whole truth, but it benefits me, that kind of thing. Avoid that. The rising, 22 is the master number of the builder. And in Cancer, it says, the most important thing that you're going to feel is a sense of loyalty to your own feelings and to your own happiness. Are you working yourself into the ground? Have you done things in the past that have been really harmful to your relationships, and are you still continuing to do them? That would be where Pluto retrograde really helps you. It's like, oh, I have ruined all of my relationships. It was me. I said that to my sponsor a while ago. It's like, oh yeah, do a step 10 on it, or do a step 4. It's where you take a personal inventory. I was like, spoiler alert, it's your fault. Because it usually is. You're either self-seeking, or you're frightened, or you're doing something to get more for yourself. It's not a good look. What you are able to do is build something practical in the real world, not a castle in the sky, a real practical journey, how you can work at something you care about. And the way to do that is by being loyal to yourself and saying, what do I like and what don't I like, and what has worked and what hasn't worked. The part of fortune is also next to the moon. It's 9 degrees away. The part of fortune is an Arabic part. It's not something that every astrologer uses. I put that in here because it's something that easily shows the area of the chart where you can experience good fortune, and you don't have to exert yourself terribly because it's something that comes naturally. And it's at 22 degrees again in Capricorn. So when you align yourself with the energy of this full moon eclipse that says, I love you, find work that you love, then you really are able to embrace that and say, okay, I'll do that. And the part of fortune says, wow, he or she is on the right track. Let's give them a proper foundation on which they can build their house. Let's create something solid and long-term, which is going to give this person security. So if you find that you have new ideas and new ways of taking care of yourself through work, make sure you take note of this and you really write it down, and you take action regardless of whether it's Mercury retrograde or not. Because the inner world, the insights, they're coming through you, straight through your head into your chakra system, and it bypasses conscious thinking. It's irrelevant. So doing things for yourself, that's where you can really thrive and put new structures in place. Do you see? When you start to communicate your feelings to other people and trying to explain them, that's where Mercury comes in, because you have to use your words. We're not mind readers. And that's where potentially you could waste your time being misunderstood, or people getting the wrong end of the stick, or getting offended, misunderstanding what you're trying to say, even if you've got a genuinely positive contribution to make. Mercury retrograde does make it difficult to understand other people, especially when it's in a water sign like Cancer. The emotions become triggered. You know, if you say something and you tell someone off for not recycling, and they were really yelled at as a kid for not doing that, you can really trigger something off in them. So you won't know about that, and that's the kind of thing that Mercury retrograde loves to bring up. It's like, you really hurt my feelings with that, and you didn't know. Now let's look at some of the relationships the moon forms here. First of all, yeah, it sits next to this part of fortune and it opposes Mercury in retrograde. So the moon is saying, don't think so much, just feel your way forward, if that makes sense. Listen to your own certainties. I think this feels right, this feels good, I'm going to do that. Rather than, my grand plan for the year is 1 month Saudi Arabia, the next month graduate. It's more of does this feel right in the now, in the present moment? Yes, go for it. No, dismiss it. It's not about writing down a business plan and thinking about everything that could happen, because you can't anticipate everything. So just receive what you're getting and go with that. Because it's an eclipse, I am saying that that approach is going to serve you for the next 6 months. If it feels right, do it. And I mean, that would make sense at all points in life, but because we have this energy and the part of fortune next to it, it means that you trust your feelings, you do something, it's much more likely to succeed than at other times, because we've got this 22 rising and part of fortune. So the first relationship that's connected via a sextile is Ceres, and that's the thing here in the chart that looks like a question mark with a cross at the bottom. Ceres is the cornucopia of wealth and abundance. It's at 12 degrees in Pisces. 1 and 2 is 3. 3 is communication, the throat chakra, thinking. And Pisces is spiritual strength, being able to pull the veil aside and seeing the unmanifest and connecting to it. Spiritual information comes in straight through your head. So it's like someone has opened a trapdoor in your head and the spiritual energy is just coming in, an abundance of nurturing, encouraging, motivational, productive, spiritual energy that you don't need to analyze or think about, you just need to feel. Amazing. The next relationship is a square between the moon and Chiron, and another square with Black Moon Lilith sitting nearby. So Chiron is the wounded healer. It's at 9 degrees in Aries, and it says only take action that's acquired through your own kind of body, spiritual body, soul, all of that. Don't take action based on other people's information. Try not to take action where you're pressured into something, where you haven't read the contract and it's like, hello, we're out of time, sign the contract please. Don't get involved in anything like that. Don't let yourself be pushed. Don't let yourself be bullied, because you'll either sign something or sign up for a job and start doing something that looks good in the moment but will really come back to hurt you and bite you in the rear. Black Moon Lilith sits next to that, and a square is 90 degrees between the actual planet and the other planet, and it causes a lot of friction. So Chiron wants you to kind of get hurt and fail and listen to other people, so really avoid that and just save yourself a lot of grief. Black Moon Lilith is at 17 degrees in Aries. 1 and 7 is 8. 8 is power. If you're on some sort of power mission, oh, if I take this, it feels like I'm going to be the new king. I'm going to have control over all of this. That's another certain red flag that if you take this path, you're going to end up falling on your face. Personal power, manipulation, elevating yourself and comparing yourself to other people, all of that is a no-no. What's a yes is being receptive and asking for guidance and saying, how can I nurture myself through work for myself and others? And it sounds less powerful, but it's a lot more powerful, because the universe on this day and for the next 6 months is biased towards work that makes you feel good and that helps other people, as opposed to work that puts you in a position of stress, where you're being inauthentic and where you're articulating things that you don't really mean. Other relationships. The moon forms a trine to Uranus at 10 degrees in Taurus. That's 120 degrees away from Uranus. 10 reduces to 1 in numerology. 1 is action. It's the magician in the tarot. It's about listening to spirit, putting your one wand up at the sky and the other wand down to earth, and you are a tube for the universe. It's repeating itself a lot. You're a tube for the universe, okay? The universe loves you. It wants you to work at something you like. Be a tube, suck, suck, suck. Uranus and Taurus. Taurus is the earth. It's the earthiest of all the signs. It's a bull, so it can be stubborn, it's controlling, it's about money, it's the body, it's sensuality, it's beautiful things. Uranus at 10 degrees in Taurus, connected to this moon, says, your world is not the real world. Your world is a reflection of decisions you've made in the past. If you accept this energy that comes in tubularly, take action that is going to have an impact on the real world, because I think this will nurture me, this is fun, not because I can domineer and dominate other people. Uranus is chaos, rebellion, eccentricity, blowing things up, okay? Take action in a practical sense and Uranus will transform your whole life. I don't know if I say this enough, but there is no real world, okay? The only real world is the thing that you see in your mind and that you then manifest on this planet. I know we have one world that we all see, but everyone's perspective of that world is different, and different people vibrate at different frequencies, so they have different experiences. Some people are so rich and they've been that way since birth, and it's a vibration. They haven't done nothing for it, and they simply vibrate at that frequency, and then they have other issues in life. Everyone has something that they need to work on. But if that, let's say that rich person at 20 started asking the question, said, why am I in this position? Did I manifest this? They will realize that their world is something that was simply given to them, and if they take power to make changes, the world can look any way you want. That rich person could own an island. Or if you're someone who vibrates at the frequency of, you attract relationships where you're always kind of apologizing and where you always feel like you're being looked down on. That's something that may have been there all the time. And it's not about, I'm to blame or they are to blame. It's simply an acceptance of, this is the frequency I'm at and this is the life that I have. By disrupting it, by taking personal action, so you disrupt by intervening practically. I love this job, so I'm going to take it. That's how you blow up your world and you put a foundation on which you can build a new one. It's amazing. It's really the first day of the rest of your life. This energy is with you for 6 months. It wants you to do something with your life that you care about. Whether you're retired or whether you're a student, doesn't matter. When you adopt that path and you say, I am going to do this, I love it. Uranus is going to support you by saying you can have anything you want. You can be anywhere you want. You can meet people that you've never even considered because you've always been vibrating here, now you're here. Another relationship. That's it. So the opposition with the Sun and Mercury, Uranus, the two ego devices, Black Moon, Lilith, and Chiron. Sextile to Ceres. Okay, let's look at some of the other things. The 22 in Cancer, the rising sign, that's on this, you see this line here? And it says 22, that's the rising, okay? And also you'll notice that most of the stuff is happening in the top part of the chart. The top half of the chart is the public. The bottom half is the self. So a lot of this has to do with finding something internal that nurtures you, taking that and putting yourself in a position where you can build something that's going to have an effect on other people. Remember, you're building, not communicating. You're building and feeling yourself. You're not talking and influencing other people. I'm just trying to think of what this will look like for the next 6 months. It looks like everyone takes a lot more responsibility for where they're at in life. They feel much more empowered. We feel much more empowered because all of this is showing us, look at what I've done in the past. Look at what has worked. Look at what hasn't worked. I've just come through a period where I was forced to do certain things. Now it's back to me to decide what I want to do. And I'm going to use this as an opportunity to absolutely engage with the world in a way that brings me joy. I'm going to work towards joy. How can I create joy in my life? Ask the moon those questions if you're connected with the moon. If not, sit in meditation, open that trapdoor in your head and say, how can I bring joy into my life? How can I work at something that I truly, truly love? The energy will come in. We have a North Node at 28 degrees in Gemini. The North Node is the direction you're aiming towards going, ideally. It's in a sector of the chart that has to do with spiritual power. And it's right next to, it's not conjunct to the Sun or Mercury, because in terms of the angles, it's nowhere near, but it's close enough, as far as I'm concerned, to have an impact on the way you think and the way you are. 2 and 8 is 10, that reduces to 1 in numerology. Again, the magician. What are you listening to? What are you making? And Gemini, Roman numeral 2, is an actual door that you can walk through. So, to summarize, on the 5th of July, you're a magician who's living the first day of his amazing life. You're fully informed by the universe, and you have the magical ability to take your skills and to tweak the world to manifest things that are beautiful and that stem from you and that you love and that you're proud of. A North Node at 28 degrees in Gemini is amazing. It means that I take responsibility for the direction I'm going in. I don't blame other people for what's happening in my life. I don't need to screw other people over to achieve what I want in life. The way this looks for a lot of people is that a lot of dishonest people become honest. A lot of people who can't take responsibility for anything start to take responsibility. It's people start to cool down a little bit and they start to say, I have a role to play in my life. My life is the way it is because of me. Or at least to admit that the things that I do in my life certainly have an influence on what goes on in my life, and that is very true. And some people can't see that. They will with this. The midheaven is in Pisces at 24 degrees, 2 and 4 is 6, Pisces spirit. The opportunity is through spiritual education, not education via other people. Neptune sitting on that midheaven and Ceres next to it. Neptune is the water planet of dreams, of the inner hidden realms. 1 and 2 is a relationship. Pisces is also a relationship. It's two fish looking at each other. The unmanifest and the manifest. So you can see your spiritual counterpart, you can form a relationship with it, you can embrace its hopes and dreams, his or her hopes and dreams, they's hopes and dreams. Internalize them, absorb them, let them live in you for the next 6 months, and take action based on them. This is really encouraging me. It makes me feel so empowered. It makes me feel like I can add meaning to my life if I want it, and that I'm not a prisoner and a victim of life. I can do what I feel is right, and I can manifest new circumstances that bring me joy, new relationships, new living situations, new ways of feeling, new ways of traveling, being, loving, laughing, playing. It's all new, new, new. It's lovely. And it's in the top part of the chart, so the things that are so personal during this eclipse and the things that no one is going to tell you how to use, you have to figure it out for yourself. And when you do, it has an impact on your public life for the next 6 months, and it puts you in a position where you're much more engaged with your own life. And again, if you're retired, what is it that you're working on that you really care about? That really, I can't wait to get out of bed to do this. And if you're a student, what is it that you're doing right now to have some sort of control over yourself and what you love and what you do? Are your studies what you really want? Do you open the books? I'm being mean here because no one does this, but do you open the books every day and say, oh, I'm so lucky to get to learn this? If you really care about what it is you're studying, you will feel that. If you don't feel that, it's like, oh, why did I take this degree? Then you may want to switch degrees. I'm one of the people who The way I went was, after 2 years of my first degree, I said, I don't really like this, but I've done 2 years, so I may as well finish it. It's wiser, based on my experience, to have that awakening and to say, oh crap, it's going to be so inconvenient for me to change courses and all of that, and what about the last 2 years? Instead of worrying about that, just say, you know what, this is the truth that the universe is giving me, this is what I care about, and regardless of what's happened in the past, regardless of the fees I've paid, regardless of what I've promised my family, this is important to me. I care about this work. I'm going to be working for the rest of my life, says the student. And that's true, if you work or don't. If you don't work, you still work at things that you love and care about, and that's what this is. Spirit says this is what you really are drawn to and what you can really thrive doing. And it's about embracing that and saying thank you. It's inconvenient because I have to change my whole major around now, but thanks. But I'm going to do it because it's really going to improve my future. And that way you save years and decades of misery and jobs that you despise. Okay, finally, let's look at inside the wheel where all these little lines are. Okay, you'll see that there's a red triangle, and that red triangle is called a T-square. It opposes, or it uses the part of fortune, Pallas-Athena, Jupiter energy. It opposes that with the rising, and then forms a triangle with Black Moon Lilith. There is ongoing friction between the ego and wanting to do things for power and the self and for reasons that are instant gratification. Instant gratification, I tell someone they're not good enough, so I make myself feel better. Like bullying, for instance. That's something that's ridiculous and stupid, and that gives your ego a boost, and that you then have to do over and over again, and you get abused, and it's all just a mess. And the ego doesn't want you to just sit there cross-legged and say, yes, universe, thank you. It wants you to rampage through your life and say, I want this. Why haven't I got my present that I deserve? Why isn't this here? And again, demanding something off other people. So watch out that your ego will want you to be demanding, to be ungrateful, to say, I don't care about your dreams. I'm busy trying to fulfill mine. No. This is about considering yourself first, but using that energy and trying to figure it out means that you're not going to harm anybody in your life. So if you find yourself harming people this week by saying negative things that you feel are justified, something's gone awry, because the landscape of this week building up to the 5th of July. Oh, and by the way, if you're in the States, this eclipse happens on the 4th of July because of the time difference. It's at night. In the UK, it's 5:44 in the morning, and that's why it's on the 5th. If you're being supportive of others while maintaining the focus on yourself and feeling a sense of warmth and information and a sense of knowingness, you're on the right track. If you find yourself, so observe yourself, use some of those retrograde planets. If you find yourself constantly being angry and raising your voice, it may be that you're justified, but fundamentally your focus ought to be elsewhere. So why is your current life provoking you so much? Instead of trying to figure that out by interviewing everyone in your life who provokes you, go within and say, universe, moon, air, whatever, God, whatever you feel connected to, self, tell me how I can live a life where there are more positive relationships and where the majority of the communication that's done is pleasant and loving and kind. You'll get the answers, and it's not just on the 5th of July. This is an amazing gift that I am genuinely grateful for, because it's going to help us till the end of this year. So that is absolutely fabulous. And that is it. I hope you have a wonderful time during this eclipse. If you would like a personal reading with me, then please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Click on book your reading to order a reading with me. In my personal readings, I use astrology, tarot, numerology, and my intuition, and I combine all of them. So you've seen me combine some of the things here. I do that in my readings too. By doing that, I feel I get the most profound overview of who you are, and I can give you the answers that you need. The reason I exist, and my job, I think, is astrology is the king of the divination systems. And if you're in a really bad place, like if I think of myself at 20, where I was just full of rage and I was drinking and running around, spirituality, there was no chance it would get through because it was obscured by so much junk. And I think if you're in a place where it's just like, oh, I can't, it's just too much, and please, can I just have some peace? It's just crazy. Then it's really useful to read someone's chart and to say, your life purpose is to be an optometrist. Because then you can think about that and say, actually, yes, I love that. And it takes the pressure off. And what I'm saying with that is that we can all tap into this universal energy, and we can all listen to it and say, yes, universe, I'm going to do that. Yes, I'll be in the present moment, I'll do that. But not all of us do that. And I don't think any of us do consistently. And it's an ongoing process. So sometimes you're going to be feeling like the Buddha, and it's like every action you take is absolutely right. And sometimes you need some help. And that's absolutely fine. I get my chart read, I get help, and I pray and meditate. In my case, I feel I need all the help I can get. So if you are interested in that, then please do order the reading with me. If you don't have the time of birth for your chart, that's quite important, because I need the place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. If you don't have the time, it makes the houses all wonky and inaccurate. So if you don't have the time of birth, there's a process called chart rectification. That's where I ask you for 10 or more life events. You send those to me, I work it out with your chart the exact minute you were born, and then I have an accurate snapshot of the sky at the moment you were born. Once I have that, I draw up your chart, I use the Tower of Intuition, numerology, and I can answer any of your questions. What is going to nurture you work-wise? What's destined for you in love and romance? Where are you supposed to live? Life purpose, work abilities. Are they the same as life purpose, or are they separate? Money, romance, love, travel, anything. If you like this video, please hit subscribe, give it a like, and share the video online. I hope you have a wonderful time. Check out the video on the weekly horoscope, because I go through each day on that. And an important thing that happens this week as well is that Saturn does go from Aquarius into Capricorn, the sign I say it doesn't like, into the sign it does like. So watch that on the weekly. I go into detail about that. And I also talk about Jupiter and Saturn. Yes, Jupiter and Saturn meeting for the first time, conjuncting like this for the first time in 13 years. That's amazing. Good luck and rebirth. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not Jupiter and Saturn, it's Jupiter and Pluto. Yes, Pluto, death and rebirth, transformation, Hades in the underworld mythology. Jupiter, Zeus. What is this mountain called? Zeus sits on top of Mount. How can I forget that? That's terrible. Anyway, not Vesuvius. That's a volcano. Anyway, Zeus is at the top of the hill he's the opposite of the underworld. He's in the overworld. He's good luck and the god of all things powerful and beautiful. And they meet, and again someone said, don't you think that's really negative? It's like death and riots? No, I don't. I think it's looking at the things that haven't worked in the past for you, and where you've been really unlucky, and where you have rioted in the sense of, oh my god, my life doesn't work, and now looking back at that and saying, wow, how can I use this super practical Capricorn energy to review those, to use my muscle to gain freedom from those negative things and to transform them into good luck and positivity. And I say that because I am someone in recovery, and the astrological influences do influence us. And it's important that we put a positive spin on those so that we can use them to manifest good things in our lives rather than bad things. There we go. Have an amazing time, and I'll speak to you soon.